It is a period of Star Wars mania, as new movies, comic books, novels, and TV shows populate the system. Fueled by their love and passion for the galaxy far, far away, two exceptional geeks tap into hundreds of holocrons in order to bring you the knowledge and insight of all things Star Wars. Come and join them as they go inside the Force.
Welcome, everybody, to Inside the Force. I am David Cottingham here with Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
Coming at you with the 39th episode of Inside the Force. We've done 39 of these together, right?
39, yeah.
Yeah.
I have not been absent.
Me neither. I don't think, right?
Attendance? No.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
It's awesome. So thanks for tuning in on Inside the Force, where we are basically trying to build the ultimate Star Wars database for you. Mm-hmm. We are profiling not only people, but vehicles, planets, droids, bounty hunter systems, whatever. We're highlighting everything that's technically canon in the Star Wars universe. So obviously with a lot more coming, TV shows, movies, we're going to be probably doing this for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to say, personally, in front of everybody, thanks, Casey Cooley, for my great birthday present.
You're very welcome.
Which is a 31-inch? Is that 31 inches?
Yeah, something like that.
A 31-inch Darth Vader figure.
Very tall. Yeah.
Awesome. He's standing over there next to my desk, just staring at us.
Just looking menacingly.
I tweeted out some pictures of him, so.
Doesn't do anything. He just stands there.
Oh, no. He doesn't need to do anything.
He just looks at you.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool because like even the cape has that chain on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty detailed.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And he's even got his lightsaber sitting there next. I mean, he can't take it off, but you know, it's there ready to go.
He has 7 points of articulation.
Yes,
so
that's right.
Move his wrists and stuff.
But right now he just stands there.
Yeah.
He's just cool. So that was one of my birthday gifts there from Casey.
Yeah.
All right, so this episode, we are in the middle of episode 5 month. We're hitting up straight through the movies each month. Episode 4 was last month. That's where we started, since that was the first movie that came out. Mm-hmm. Episode 5 this month. We got 5 episodes this month, so we are in number 3 this month right now. We did General Riken to start off. Then we did General Veers last week. And this week, we're going to shift a little bit to a vehicle. Now, we've done a couple vehicles before. We've done the Millennium Falcon. We've done... no, we didn't. I was about to say we did the Houndstooth, but we actually did Bosk.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure have we done it? I know we did the Death Star last month.
What ships now? Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, Millennium Falcon.
Death Star.
That might be it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do another vehicle.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do probably the most popular vehicle, which is the X-wing starfighter.
Yeah.
I'll start off briefly by just talking about the X-wing itself, and then Casey will get into a little bit of the history, and we'll hit some characteristics, and then we'll move on to some news. We got the new comic, number 12, Star Wars came out. We'll talk about that and the release of the expansion pack for Star Wars, the card game. Mm-hmm. So the X-wing was obviously a starfighter produced a long time ago. Now, this thing has been around for years, as you'll talk about. Yeah. Now, and there's been several different models, but we will focus on the most popular model, which is the T-65, that is the model basically that was seen in the movies, because they obviously got more advanced throughout the years and served even during the expansion.
Yeah, we saw basically the first start of it at the start of episode 3. It was sort of like a version of an early version of X-wing. Yeah.
So it serves, it served under the Rebel Alliance, the New Republic, and even the Galactic Alliance in the expanded universe and whatnot. So, Casey will get into the history of basically the T-65 X-wing fighter.
Indeed. the X-Wing T-65, or just the X-Wing, I guess in general, was originally designed by Incom Corporation. Now, Incom Corporation, it's a crazy little acronym there. Let me bring it up for you. Basically, they did a lot of starfighters. It's called the Tornix Inertial Compensator Corporation, or Incom Industries, or mainly Incom. It's based off of Fresia core. It's a planet in the core worlds, and basically this planet and Incom, all they did was just make starfighters and airspeeders and transports, all kinds of vehicles, and they created the T-65 X-Wing starfighter, which, as you just said, is fans of Star Wars, it's the most famous thing in our minds. Also, it's the most popular ship in the Star Wars universe. So, as soon as, and especially with the whole Battle of Yavin, all the rebellion stuff happening, Incom used the X-Wing kind of as their logo, as the Incom Corporation logo. They used the X-Wing in there, so it's like a super, as you know, it's a super popular. Nice. Super popular ship. So it was created by Incom, and it's really interesting because Incom created the T-65 for the Empire initially, and basically like right after pretty soon after, I guess the Empire happened and they were conscripted to whatever to make the ships. The whole Incom Corporation defected to the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
And so they basically gave the Rebels all of their X-Wing prototypes. And Incom is now they were working for Rebel Alliance. And Fresia, the planet where Incom is housed in, the planet also became like a Rebel Alliance planet. So that was pretty cool. And so the X-Wing is now, it was made for the Empire, so it was actually made very advanced and all that stuff. As soon as basically the Incom defected into the Rebels, there were like 4 prototypes, not just the T-65. As you know, there were like tons of X-Wings. There was like T-60, whatever, T-65 B, T-65X, all kinds of models here, and they were constantly being updated. And Dave, you'll talk a little bit about their characteristics and how they actually were a superior model in some ways to the TIE fighters and to the TIE. Now this is something too, like there are different TIE starfighters as well.
That's right.
The TIE LN, the TIE IN, the TIE Hunters, which I've never heard of the TIE Hunters.
Right.
Maybe we can talk about that later. But this basically happened right before the Battle of Yavin. So the Rebel Alliance, I guess, weren't really able to use any of the any of the X-Wings that were given to them until before the Battle of Yavin. They were kind of really thrown into force there. So, and there's not much more about the history of X-Wings because they didn't really, the X-Wings that we know of, because they didn't really start, the T-65s didn't really make an appearance until the Battle of Yavin, up until all throughout the whole original trilogy.
And what I mean by, and what I was saying earlier about they've been around for a while, meaning that they lasted.
Yes.
Like further. Like that was kind of the early parts.
It was.
Because like you said, they, that you see even a version of them somewhat in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I don't think they called those X-Wings though.
No.
They were just fighters, I guess, some kind of fighters. But so these came about when the Empire was building their armada, basically.
Yeah. So these were going to be part of their their ships,
their fleet. Yeah,
their fleet. But then the whole rebellion happened. So basically, I'm trying to look at here all the 4 different models of the X-Wings, and there are some really crazy looking ones.
Yeah.
I think that the T-65B X-Wing the T-65B X-Wing starfighter is basically the one that we know from the movies, and it's the one that Luke used. The B model is the one that Luke used during the first Death Star battle.
Correct.
So there were enhancements. There was like the T-65C A2, the T-65A C4. These are some crazy looking ones. And they kept getting better and better, faster and faster, more comparable to the A-Wing. But then that's basically all I can tell you leading up throughout the movies about the X-Wings, because, of course, there's a lot in the Expanded Universe. There's a whole book series, the X-Wing book series in the Expanded Universe, which I've heard many great things about. But in terms of history, that's pretty much it. The biggest thing was, and the most coolest thing, I think, was that it started as being built for the Empire and defected. And they were actually, the design was inspired, or I guess descended from the Z-95 Headhunter ship, which we know from the Star Wars the card game. There's an actual card, Z-95 Z-95 Headhunter.
And it's a scum and villainy card.
It is. Yes. Very strange.
Yes.
But yeah, man, that's basically it.
Right. So
the
the characteristics of this thing, at least the T-65 model, the original T-65 model. So the X-Wing was obviously called an X-Wing because when it was in an attack position, the wings expanded, revealing an X when you look at the ship from the front of the back. Now, here's the thing that I didn't know. You hear it in episode 4 mainly, and honestly, the reason we're doing this in episode 5 is because Luke hangs out in his X-Wing a lot.
Yeah.
So, but in episode 4, when they're attacking the Death Star for the first time, you hear Red Leader say, "Put S-foils in attack position."
Yeah.
Well, you're like, S-foils? What is that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
Well, S-foils actually stands for strike foils. So basically, there's 4 foils. So when it expands, the foils are mounted with cannons. You have 4 cannons, one on each end of the wing, and that's when they're called strike foils. So they're S foils. So when it's in a locked position is now in the earlier models, and I think it's this one being an earlier model, you cannot fire when they were locked. So the only time that they were able to fire was when they're unlocked and in the X position.
Yeah.
Also, they could not be unlocked and go into hyperspace.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool feature for the X-Wing, actually, because usually small fighters don't have hyperspace drives.
Yeah.
So the X-Wing, which is a huge advantage over, say, a TIE fighter, because the TIE fighter does not have hyperdrive.
Right.
So then you have, except I think eventually they, the interceptors or something like that may. But the T-65 was mounted with a hyperdrive. S-foil had to remain locked to conserve the energy so the hyperdrive can work. Now later models, they were upgraded to have what was called speed bursts. They were given speed bursts to make them faster and maneuver a little quicker. But obviously with that too, it was hard because if they were in the striking position, they couldn't use it. So while they were battling, basically they were stuck, not stuck, but only able to use the primary ignitions. Now, they were obviously fitted with a targeting computer, which everybody knows from episode 4 as well, and proton torpedoes. So they had basically a launch tube. They had dual launch tube, which they can put proton torpedoes on, which is another feature they talked about in episode 4. But they could also be fitted up with I just missed it here. Concussion missiles.
Yeah.
So they could either but the concussion missiles there's a great deal of mechanical stuff that they had to change out. So mainly they were proton torpedoes. Now the X-Wings lasers, the laser cannons on the S-foils, could have different types of firing techniques. So you have single fire, which each cannon fired individually. Then you had dual fire, where 2 cannons in opposite positions paired and fired alternately. And then you had quad fire, where all 4 centered on a single target. Mm-hmm. And then you had shutter fire, where they basically just randomly rapid fire succession. And that actually wasn't added till much, much later. Mm. The Yuuzhan Vong War, which is a very big war in the expanded universe. So like I said, they were equipped with a hyperdrive, and of course, targeting computer, and so it was only able to fit one pilot and an astromech droid. Now, in the astromech droid was key because he's the one that basically stored all the hyperspace the coordinates. Yeah, thank you. And was able to pilot the ship if the fighter, if something happened to the pilot, or if the pilot wanted to take a nap, I guess. And so the droid could take over and fly where he needed to go and get the pilot there. So obviously these things were, because they were able to light speed to the galaxy. This made them ideal for the rebellion because they didn't need a cruiser or a just like Home 1 or something like that to go and fly off of in order to strike. They can go and do what they call just hit and run tactics, where they just fly in, destroy something, and then get that out of there. You know what I mean? Which is strange because you think about it with the Empire. I mean, these TIE fighters had to have come from either the Death Star at the time or a Star Destroyer or something like that. Yeah. They had to be taken somewhere. Yeah, well,
because it makes in episode 4 when they found that random TIE fighter.
Correct.
Said must have been like a lost part of a
convoy
or something. Oh, that type of fighter or whatever can't get that far or something like that. But
he can't get deep into space by its own. Is what Obi-Wan says. Exactly. So the X-wings were able to get a crew of the squadrons. The Rogue Squadron, Red Squadron, Blue Squadron, whatever. And take off and do their maneuvers and attacks, and then get away before anybody else sees them, and be very, very effective. Now, I thought this was interesting. The flight controls are very similar to the T-16 Skyhopper.
Yes.
So for people that exactly, people don't, if they can't remember, that is what Luke Skywalker had on Tatooine.
Yeah. Bullseye Womp Rats.
I used to Bullseye Womp Rats my T-16 back home.
and I looked it up, and that's actually the little toy he's kind of playing with on the Falcon.
That is exactly right. Yeah, that's it. So him and Biggs go through Beggar's Canyon and shoot Womp Rats with their T-16s. So the maneuvering controls, the flight controls, was very similar, and that actually leads to saying basically a skilled recruit who had flown enough with the T-16 basically can pick up an X-Wing very, very quickly.
Yeah.
As per Luke Skywalker, having never flown an X-Wing until the Battle of Yavin, got it pretty easily. And it helps to have the Force with you, too, as well. But, but it's also cool that they actually trained pilots on T-16s because it was cheaper. You didn't have the risk of them destroying an X-Wing or breaking an X-Wing.
Yeah, or that they were able to covertly train.
Correct, and covertly train them. That's right. Yeah. So they were just piloting T-16s, not knowing that they were training for actual X-Wing piloting, which is very, very awesome. So now there's not much difference. Like you said, the T-65B is what Luke Skywalker had at the Battle of Yavin. And I was looking at it, and there's really not that much of a difference. Now, these things were I forgot to mention, these things were very heavily shielded as well. They weren't, they had deflector shields, basically what they called them, so I guess, I was about to say, I guess it didn't really withstand TIE fighter, so I don't know how strong they actually were.
I don't know, they all got smoked.
I was about to say, they did, so maybe they weren't, because it seemed like the Millennium Falcon can't get destroyed.
Yeah.
But X-Wings got pretty... but they do have shields on them for some reason, somehow. I know those cannons, you can't stop. Anything really big, you can't really stop, depending on the size of the ship. But anyway, the T-65B was just, I guess, a newer model, but it really had the same characteristics, the T-65. So it's pretty much the main fighter that you see in the movies, Episode 4, Episode 5. I guess Episode 5 is still the same one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so.
And actually, cool little tidbit, a good reason why we actually we can say now why we chose X-Wings for this one, for episode 5 month, is because X-Wing, X-Wing is only mentioned once in episode 5, and I think it's the first time it is mentioned.
What is
X-Wing? Isn't it the only time or X-Wing's mentioned in episode 4?
Wow.
A New Hope has, I think they mentioned T-65s. I think it says here. It says in the 2004 edition of A New Hope, T-65 is mentioned to Luke in an added scene. But it says X-Wing is only mentioned once in episode 5. It's one of the few ships that is mentioned by name.
In what year?
2004. So the DVDs, when that DVDs
What,
came
they
out,
put a scene back in?
it sounds like they added a little, maybe just a piece of dialogue. Maybe I don't remember that, but
Yeah, I just off the top of my head, I do not remember them saying X-Wing ever. I mean, they never said anything like Y-Wing or X-Wing, because there were Y-Wings also.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Those are the ones that actually went into the trench
the bombers
in the beginning, to start off, and then the X-Wing was supposed to, and then there was, we didn't see any B-Wings or A-Wings till later. But, I don't think I know he said T-16.
Yes,
talking about his
T-16.
But and I know that they cut that scene with Biggs in the hangar. They put that in though. That might be the one that they're talking about. They put in.
Maybe. Yeah.
They put that back in because you remember the red leader. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah.
But he comes in. He's like, "Are you sure you can fly this thing?" He's like, "He's the best bush pilot in Outer Rim territories. You'll be okay."
You'll be all right.
Yeah, like, dude. You're the best bush pilot? I didn't know that. Okay. You're good to go,
The
Luke.
qualifications are not very...
Bush pilot is an automatic pilot in the alliance.
We're gonna give you a medal at the end of this movie.
You are gonna get a medal. You know what? You want to be red leader? You should be red leader. No,
That's
so
good. Yeah.
But I don't remember them saying T-65 in that.
I don't either, but this says, I don't know. I'll have to watch it again, but I'll have to watch Star Wars again.
But that's probably what we'll do when we play the card game later, I guess. But that's interesting. Okay, so what else? Anything else? Like you said though, there's a ton of books.
Oh yeah.
On the whole X-Wing series. I think it's called Rogue Squadron, isn't it? I think it's called X-Wing Rogue Squadron. I'm
not sure.
Actually, yeah, I'm looking at it. Well, Star Wars. No, I think sources. It says Rogue Squadron, but I think you're right. I think it was X-Wing series.
It might have just been kind of like the name, like the X-Wing series. Probably Rogue Squadron might be like a sub.
But it was there's all these stories with them, Luke, Wedge, all of them going after the Empire, but. Yeah. So that is the X-Wing Starfighter, mainly the T-65 version of it, as seen in the movie. So,
well, here's one quick thing. Actually, I read a little trivia for in episode 2 when Anakin and Obi-Wan are chasing Zam Wessel throughout Coruscant.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can see an X-Wing alongside a TIE Starfighter, a TIE fighter.
Really?
There's apparently a very brief cameo of the X-Wing and the TIE fighter during this chase scene in episode 2, where...
but they're supposed to be just like
I think the X-Wing is chasing a TIE fighter.
Oh, but so it's like an Easter egg. It's not an actual
it's an Easter egg.
Yeah, it's not like... there was really an X-Wing there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's there, but I mean...
Yeah. Easter eggs.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah,
but I have to watch it. Look at that again.
It's just like there's isn't there like a shoe that's floating in the asteroid field or something?
Something like that. And there's a kitchen sink crashing into one of the capital ships.
Yeah. In the asteroid field in episode 5, I think there's like a shoe. Is there a shoe, and then and a couple of them were potatoes?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I think there's all kinds of stuff. So, all right. So, what we got news this week? We got anything?
News. A few things. I'll hit on. Apparently, there's one little news bit because I think a couple weeks ago I mentioned there's a rumor that Netflix is going to do a Cad Bane TV show.
Right.
There's a news kind of giving credence to kind of the idea that Star Wars is going to create shows for Netflix, but not necessarily a Cad Bane show. It just says. The Disney CFO was being interviewed about Marvel Netflix, because Marvel is creating a lot of Netflix shows. And so he just kind of, his response just kind of led the possibility that Disney will also do Star Wars with Netflix.
Right.
Lucasfilm will do it with Netflix. So
I tell you what,
possibility.
that is, I tell you what, because like about a year ago or even maybe 2 years ago,
yeah.
I mean, it felt like Netflix was on the verge of going away.
Yeah.
When the whole thing about the studios, not signing with them, they were signing with just Redbox or just Blockbuster, you know, when there was that whole thing about the digital online. And then of course Netflix comes out and says, you know, we're getting rid of one membership. There's 2 memberships now, and they're both $8 for DVDs in the mail or streaming. You can't have both unless you pay like double.
When they made that split, I was just like, I'm not even going to worry about it.
Right. And I mean, everybody was like, this is bull crap. You know, I'm going to go to Redbox now, or I'm going to stream, you know, DirecTV has a great on-demand, even though it gets expensive if you watch a lot, but you can watch whatever you want. But I've come to, you know, I kept my membership. I kept my Netflix membership just streaming.
Yeah.
And mainly because I'm very unhappy with the movies.
Absolutely.
But the television shows, like I caught up with Breaking Bad on there. I caught up with Being Human on there. Arrow. You can rewatch Arrow. They actually just added, which I'm surprised, they finally just added Robot Chicken on there.
Okay, cool.
The first season, anyway.
They got the animated Batman. They got
Justice League. They have Justice League. They have Justice League. I think they don't have Batman yet.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for them to put that on there. But yeah, they're really good on their TV side. The movie side is still a little shaky, but I can understand that. I mean, if you want something newer, it's going to take a while. But yes, with now that Netflix being them, and you got Amazon Prime, you got Hulu Plus. They're all creating their own content now, which is brilliant on their part. That's what's keeping them alive, I think. And then, of course, now you got these studios doing deals with them where they're being exclusive, because that Marvel series, like that's basically a cinematic universe on Netflix. Because they're doing 4 different heroes. I don't even know. I know Luke Cage and Daredevil are 2 of them, and then they're doing 2 more that I haven't heard of.
Is Jessica Jones part of that?
Yeah, you're right. I think that's right. And so they're doing 4 different independent series, and then they're bringing them together and calling them the Defenders. That's freaking brilliant, man. You know, and Star Wars, yes, if they want to do what we just mentioned, how they're just putting out all kinds of social media content. It sounds like they're just gonna. I mean, we're gonna get flooded with it.
Yeah, it's already starting to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Games, you know, comics, everything.
Yeah. Speaking of games, thank you, Davey.
See, like how did that?
It's good. This Tuesday, Lucasfilm unveiled a new video game, and I believe this is an online game. It's free, called Star Wars Attack Squadrons. Now, I believe this has been long rumored, because I think a while back, you know, because whenever Lucasfilm or any big company registers domain names, everybody jumps on it.
Right.
And I think this is one of the domain names that was registered, and everybody was like, oh, is this going to be what the movie's called or something like that?
Oh, right.
So this is an online game. It's about, basically, it's what it says, Attack Squadrons. You're fighting. You're having dogfights. It allows players to, quote, customize iconic Star Wars ships and engage in high-velocity 16-player dogfights in fabled Star Wars locations. There's, like, 3-player versus player game modes, new ships, besides the X-Wing that we know, upgrades every month. And so it sounds, I mean, there's been a lot of kind of computer games for Star Wars in the years. There's been like Star Wars Galaxies is a big one now. You get the Star Wars: The Old Republic, and this seems more just like the quality seems pretty decent enough. Seems like a high quality, just simple space starfighter game. I mean, I'm not terribly interested in it honestly, but
no,
it could still be cool. So right now, though, they're having the beta testing, and you can actually sign up to.
Now, is it only tester. Like PC online, or is it like Xbox Live or something like that? Because
I don't know.
Because I don't do the PC online.
I don't do it.
I could possibly do Xbox.
I feel like it's just going to be a PC.
That's what I feel like too.
That's which I hate.
Like a World of Warcraft kind of thing, but X-Wings.
I mean, if this is free, if everything's free, that would be cool. But if they're upgrading every month and you have to pay for upgrades or something like that, that's why I don't play Star Wars: The Old Republic, because it's
exactly.
That's why I don't do it.
And that was actually a little freaky for me to see, because I saw the ad on it, the still image, and it was an X-wing behind a TIE fighter, and like TIE fighter had markings on it, and I was like, when did these things get markings like that? But it was customized.
Okay,
like somebody put an Imperial logo like on the big wing fighter on it, and the X-wing had all these markings on it. Mm-hmm. So that's what he mean by customizing it. You basically you throw stickers and decals on it all over you, and then paint it the way you want it.
I mean,
it
looks. I mean, it could be cool. Could be cool.
Yeah, it could be.
We'll see. I probably won't play it.
Hey, trust me, I love some Star Wars.
Yeah,
but
I may try it once.
Yeah, I want like Force Unleashed 3 or something like that, or freaking 1313.
Yes. Gosh dang it. Or even, the Old Republic video game. I just want a third Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
I love those games.
Oh, and they're doing that Battlefront too.
Battlefront.
Right?
I'm a huge fan of Battlefront.
That's going to be awesome. I think.
I love those games.
Yeah.
So the last little piece of news that I have for you guys comes from, it's episode 7 actually, piece of news. This comes from Alan Horn himself, the Disney Studios chairman. He made some comments about episode 7 and just also future Star Wars films. But the biggest kind of the highlight from it is, of course, he reiterates that the Star Wars related movie, including spinoffs, every year from Lucasfilms. Starting from 2015, we'll get a Star Wars movie every year, which we've known. But a big kind of good update was Alan Horn said they expect to get the script for episode 7 in January. Now, no budget for the movie has been set, but the studio believes that it's going to probably cost around $200 million, which is the biggest budget Star Wars would have. It's always been costing around like 120, 130, right?
Right.
But
all that's Lucas's pocket.
Yeah, so it's strange. Yeah, I mean, 200 is about average for these blockbusters nowadays, but that's interesting. I mean, they don't even have a script for it, or it's the studio execs.
They're going to make 5 times that.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Worldwide, if not 6 times that. You're kidding me.
It's going to break $1 billion.
Easily.
So, so if they're going to get the script in January, they're not going to be shooting at all. I mean, unless with actors, they won't be shooting in January, right?
No, I've always said I think it's going to be like March, April. Yeah. Because. So. Again, I obviously I do not know, but I do believe that they have a pretty good idea who's casted in this.
Yes,
thing. I really do. Especially if they have a script that they're going to lock down by January, they have to know who they've signed. Especially these, not obviously not the new people, but the older characters like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, Harrison. Which one of these are coming back, because they're not going to hand a script in not having these guys signed on it if they're in the movie. Yeah. So I really feel good. Today we had talked about possibly profiling Lando. Yeah. I actually feel good that Billy Dee Williams might come back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
At first, because no one's really talking about him.
No. I remember along, like, when around the time when the deal first happened, he's like, I'm coming back. Like, if they call me, I'll go back.
Yeah, and I'm bummed that Peter Mayhew won't be back.
Yeah,
because he just can't. I mean, his knees, health-wise, he can't.
And Kenny Baker, I doubt. Well,
right,
he's also in bad health.
He's bad, but Anthony Daniels will probably be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you think Chewbacca will be in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, could they, say he died between 6 and 7? It's possible.
I think he's going to be there.
Yeah, I think he's going to be there. Could he die? Sure.
But, will he factor? Probably not. It might just be a cameo or something. But
Chewbacca's kids.
That's strange. It's strange that it'd actually be weird that Peter Mayhew's not. I wonder if the mannerisms are going to be the same.
Sounds different.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's cool. I think we'll, once January. I just think all across the board, as far as everything we talk about on the 21 Network. I mean, January is going to be a big month, I think. Yes. I think we're going to get a lot of Star Wars news. We're going to get a lot of DC news.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be, next year's just going to be, you're going to get a lot of stuff from these podcasts, I'm telling you. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff next year. Yeah. Come Comic-Con, jeez. My head is going to explode. Because we're going to probably get footage of this, something. I mean, I have no doubt we're going to get something of this. definitely Batman, Superman, stuff like that. I mean, that's another podcast. All right, what else you got? Is that on the news?
That's all I got.
Well, I did want to mention what we talked about briefly about that whole book.
Oh, yeah.
That character book.
Yeah. Because Star Wars, every now and then, they come up with an essential characters book. It's just an encyclopedia of all things Star Wars characters. Really cool book.
And the latest one has actually been canceled.
Yeah.
In my opinion, obviously because of the whatever characters or changes that are going to be made because of the script and because of the trilogy. And, so it even talks about it in here. I read the article, actually. They're not expecting them to put this out until after this trilogy. Mm-hmm. So don't expect a new essential characters guide for a while. Until these movies are done, you're talking at least, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
So if they're doing every other year, are they doing this? They're doing the trilogy every other, right?
Yeah, but we'll get one from It's
in between. But normally the movies have been every 3 years.
Yes.
I think they're only 2 years now.
Yeah.
So you're talking 2015, 17, 2019 will be episode 9.
Yeah.
So then, I think you get the guide probably after that. So don't expect it anytime soon, but. That's smart though on their end, honestly. I mean, to keep it factual. So, okay. So other things happening in Star Wars. The new comic came out last week. Star Wars number 12 from Dark Horse. This just continues to be a great book written by Brian Wood. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this issue going on?
I really like this one.
Yes,
it's still just a good series.
This one felt. I talked about this on In the Comics. This one felt, actually, a little side note. What's cool is that on In the Comics, where me and Russell talk about all the books that came out this week, we're actually defecting talking about this to this show. Okay. So we don't really talk too much about it because I would be talking twice about it. But anyway, this being number 12, this one really felt like really connected to the movies. I felt like in this one, I think there were a lot of things in this, especially with the stuff with Leia and Han.
Oh, I love finally got something.
Yes, right. That. So like it really, you can see a lot of it, and I love the cover. The cover is awesome on this one. I think because you really, I'm glad they. Yeah. I mean, that's Mark Hamill, that's Carrie Fisher, that's Harry. You know what I mean? So I know they've done that in the past, but I don't think that as detailed as this. This looks really good. But we have the birth of Rogue Squadron.
Yes,
in this.
Good.
So there's a lot of revelations in this. This feels like a little bit of a conclusion of a sense to this arc.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
And we're kicking off more.
Yeah. It felt like an ending to a Star Wars movie kind of thing.
So this was, again, this is just continues to be a really good book. Basically what's happening in it is they've come up with they've basically survived this attack as far as the rebels have. They've fought off the Imperials, the Star Destroyers, and some TIE fighters that had converged on Home One, and Luke and Wedge, who have been stuck on the Devastator, I think it was, finally got off of there and onto Home One. Leia came back. Everybody's back together now, so that's what I mean. It's kind of the conclusion. Now they're planning their next step, and it's an interesting next step.
Yeah, and very funny, too. Han Solo.
Yes. And Han's been, this whole time, Han's been with Chewie on Coruscant.
Yeah.
Trying to evade Boba Fett and Bosk and maybe Dengar. I think Dengar too. Or
I can't remember.
He's been fighting off these bounty hunters, and he's met up with a girl named Perla, and so obviously there's that little jealousy going on with Leia. So it's so great. I mean, it's perfect. Very, very Star Wars movie-ish, and so Perla was able to give them a ton of equipment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And weapons and stuff like that for the Alliance. So they're planning their next step. We won't reveal it. We'll talk about it next time when this comes out. But it's a very interesting concept from the idea of Princess Leia of basically their new base is what they're looking for, is their new rebel base. So that's what's happening. Go pick that up if you haven't read it. The trades are out actually of the first 6 issues, and you should pick it up. And for you ladies out there, you want to get a good gift for your man for Christmas. Star Wars the comic book. I'm telling you, go get that. That's awesome. All right, let's see. Another bit of thing that came out was from Fantasy Flight, which we talk about mainly on our Star Wars TCG podcast with Kumesh Taku, Corey Cooley, and the two of us. Star Wars the card game. They had a big release last week. Their Balance of the Force expansion, which is their multiplayer expansion. Now, unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to test it out yet, but they did come out with some individual objectives for each affiliation, and so you can work those into your individual decks as well. Now, the multiplayer, what it came out with was challenge decks also. So it gave you some rules to play 2-on-2, which is using your standard individual deck, though, but you play as a team. But then there's challenge decks to test out that is only for either 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3. So if you are the light side, you use the light side challenge deck, and then you face off against 2 or 3 dark side players with their individual decks. So anyway, and then opposite, if you're the dark side player, you play with the dark side challenge deck against 1 or against 2 or 3 light side players. So very interesting concept. We'll be talking about that a little bit more later on in some shows to come once we get into that and test it out. And I'm interested because I like the cards that are in the decks. There's some very powerful cards, especially the dark side. I think they have Vader in there. He's awesome. The Emperor is incredible in there. So we'll try those out. Did you put any of those new objectives in your deck?
I mean, I put the Obi-Wan and the Sith one.
In the Sith one? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I have all 6 individual affiliation decks, and I put them all in.
I would.
Yeah, they're really good. It was hard picking out which ones to come out, but I did involve them in there. Now, another announcement that came over the weekend was the 4th Force pack in the Echoes of the Force cycle coming. So they have announced 4 packs coming, I guess starting in January. I'm assuming usually they've been putting these out every month. But this one called Join Us or Die.
Okay.
Join Us or Die. And of course they have the quote right there. He will join us or die, my master. So anyway, this apparently has, now they don't release all of the cards in there, but apparently there is a new Jedi Yoda in this.
Yes.
The objective looks like it's called May the Force Be With You. And I can't really read. It says after your opponent, after you commit a unit to the Force, remove all focus tokens from that unit.
Boom. That's awesome.
That's what I was about to say that the cards that they do highlight from the Navy side, it's all about committing Force and getting cards from your discard pile.
That's awesome.
So I'll run through a little bit. They highlight basically the Navy side mainly in this. There's now in this group here. There's a Rebel card I see. There's a couple. It says you get 5. I think you said you get 5 affiliations, and then you get 2 of each. I think is what it is. I think I read that. So I think you get 5 different affiliations, and you get doubles. But I thought I saw that in there, but I guess not. So anyway, but I see a Sith card, I see a Jedi, a Rebel. I don't see a Scum and villain, or I'm sorry, Smugglers and Spies. So maybe you don't get one of those. But anyway, on the Navy side, you have this new objective called Reinforcements. So get this: after this objective enters play, put the topmost Navy unit in your discard pile into play. Cool. Committed to the Force. So if this unit cannot be committed to the force, this effect cannot initiate.
Ooh.
So yeah, so basically you don't want that on your choices. Well, I guess you could, but you don't have a discard pile yet.
Mm-hmm.
So so that's that, and then you have with that card, you have there's another here's a cool fake card. There's a brand new fake card. Now this is wild because you can think about the possibilities. It's a fate number 4, so you can use it pretty early.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 2 force icons. You may commit a target unit to or remove a target unit from the force.
Very cool.
So think about it. You can, against your opponent, you could commit a person that doesn't have any force icons.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're stuck on there.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can remove somebody like, if I'm playing against you and Jedi and you have Obi-Wan committed, I can remove him. But then again, think about it. You can actually remove it from yourself.
True.
To allow, somebody that isn't elite to become, to also, and then commit somebody that is elite in your same turn. I mean,
that's pretty good.
There's some possibilities there. I thought it was
like before you actually have the chance to commit somebody in the force.
That's during the edge battle, obviously.
Yeah. So before your turn, before the balance phase happens.
Correct.
Yeah. Like, because there's sometimes I'm like, I wish I can change this.
Yes, or if you have 3 people committed, and then you play a big guy with force icons, and you're like, you can't commit them. Then there's a chance to do that. That's pretty cool. You have another Navy card event card called Award Ceremony. Now this is pretty interesting. So it's a 2 cost. So you play only if you have at least 1 force card in your supply. So you play cost 2. So just think about this. Play cost 2. Action. Put a character unit into play from your hand, then commit them to the force. So, cost 2, you have several guys like, Tarkin, that's a 3 or something like that, or Amadi, that's a 3 or something like, if you're thinking about Navy characters, these are Navy character people. Vader is a 5, cost 2. Boom. Commit him to the force. He's elite.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are some good cards. Then you got, so it talks about that. Units like Colonel Stark, he's
good.
He's a 4 cost, I think.
Yeah.
Now here's interesting. So you have a card called Reserve Troopers. That's an awesome card. It's got the guys on the speeders, the scouts.
Yeah.
So it's 3 cost, 3 damage. They got 2 unit damage, 2 blast damage, all black. These guys got targeted strike.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, targeted strike for these guys. But here's the thing. This is the thing. This unit cannot be declared as an attacker or a defender unless it is committed to the force.
That's weird.
So you cannot do anything with this guy unless they're committed. And they only have 1 force icon.
What the heck?
But by committing them, they've got targeted strike.
Jeez. I want the Jedi. Come on, Jedi.
I'm sure there's going to be some good Jedi cards, I'm sure. But anyway, I thought that was interesting. And then another last one I'll talk about, it's called Security Checkpoint. This is a 0 cost enhancement. Enhance your play area. Each unit you control that is committed to the force gains edge 1. So that's another. So that's basically on your play area. So basically, every unit you has committed has an edge 1 already on it. So anyway, people that are not into the card game may not understand anything we just talked about. But we'll talk about that also on the next Star Wars TCG, which is going to be a week from Saturday. So
cool.
So anyway, that's pretty cool. I thought that was interesting. I think it's interesting what they're doing with all these force packs. It seems like they're focusing on different things, committed stuff, force icons, all kinds of stuff. So,
good.
All right. So we'll wrap this up with some trivia. I think where are we at? I'm at, I think I'm a couple over 500 now. Let's see, 24 and 16. Oh, wow, I'm pulling away, actually. You're 22 and 18. You're not too bad. You're only a couple behind me. So, okay, Case, episode 5, we'll have you pick the question again.
What did I say last time?
1990.
1980.
You did your
I did my birth year, so this time let's do 1980. The year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Came out.
When it came out. Okay, so 1980. Let's see, 1980. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. Select a question. 1980. All right, here we go. 1980, from Empire Strikes Back era. What was the last transport to escape the Imperial blockade of Hoth?
Nice
Wow,
question.
that's great.
Nice question.
I love it. The last transport to escape the Imperial blockade of Hoth. Is it A, the Bright Hope, B, the Duty Free, C, Thawne's Orchid, or D, Lana's Lament? Wow. I didn't know there was that many transports.
This is ridiculous.
The Bright Hope, the Duty Free, Thawne's Orchid, or Lana's Lament? I almost want to choose Lana just because of Superman.
Yeah, the last ship.
The last transport to escape the Imperial blockade. Now, in the movie, we never see the last transport. We only see the first.
Yeah.
Remember, because they say, the first transport is away.
Woo!
Hooray! The first transport is away.
Yeah.
Hooray!
So this has got to be like in the book or in the script.
Well, what's crazy, and I don't, and we're buddies, so I can share it with you. But you remember when Luke is approaching his X-Wing, that one is taking off right there. There's one transport, which I think is the last transport.
Yeah.
But what is the name of that transport? Because they're all pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Just like all Star Destroyers are the same. They just have different names.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's really a guess. It's a complete guess because it's not obviously said
I
in the
honestly
movie.
was going to think like Millennium Falcon or something like that because that left a little later. But this is the blockade.
But that's not.
They're
talking about the big transport because the ships are the actual transports.
Yeah.
So that's what they're talking about, the big ships. So that ship really is the last one, I'm assuming.
Name them once again, please.
Okay, A, the Bright Hope.
Yep.
B, the Duty Free. C, Thrawn's Orchid. Or D, Lana's Lament.
I'm going to go Duty Free.
Duty Free, okay. I'm going to go with the only one I recognize, which is the Bright Hope.
Yeah, that's what I recognize too. But
so
we'll see.
I'll say A, you say
wrong.
B. Here's B.
Oh, far as A?
It is A,
Dang
the Bright Hope.
I thought that was the first one.
No, the first one was probably Home 1. Actually, no, Home 1's not a transport, though. So,
I thought
I don't
Bright
know.
Hope was the first one. I was thinking Bright Hope the whole time. I was like, let's just go with one.
Yeah, so
Shoot,
I just
you're
went with the
three
one
up.
Three up. So
Dang it. It's all right. I had two up there for a little while.
You did. You were leading. You were up there, yeah. Because I was doing bad for a while there. I was doing some bad guesses. So 25 and 16. Casey's 22 and 19.
Okay.
All right, so that'll do it for this episode of Inside the Force. Thanks for checking us out. Next week, we'll coming at you, even though it's Christmas Eve. We're going to put an episode out.
Yeah.
Because we're probably not going to record on Christmas Eve. We're going to record on Monday. But Christmas Eve, we'll get you an episode. We don't take breaks here on Star Wars.
Yeah.
As long as there's news or somebody to profile. Like I said, we're doing episode 5 months, so we're going to hit on somebody. Character, probably another character from episode 5. And that'll be episode 40 of Inside the Force.
40.
That'll be XL.
Oh,
XL.
It's going to be an extra large episode.
Extra large. Maybe we'll get some people on here. Get some little extra large. I like that. Nice. All right. For Casey Cooley.
You must feel the force around you, here, between you, me, the tree, the rock, everywhere. Yes, even between this land and that ship.
Nice.
I didn't want to do my Yoda impression because I thought it would be too bad, but there you go.
That's good. That's good. Everybody can kind of do that in their head,
the
Yoda impression. All right. Check us out at InsideTheForce.com for all the latest episodes and all the episodes of this podcast. Follow us at Inside the Force. Casey's at Kryptonian1138. I am at DCottingham21. Check us out there. Go follow us. And do us a favor. Check us out on iTunes.
Yes.
Give us a comment. Rate us. We want to get this podcast out as much as we can. That's up to you guys. Please. Thank you. Appreciate that. Casey Cooley.
Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, everybody, and may the Force be with you.
This has been a production of the 21 Network. For more great podcasts, visit 21network.com. To view additional content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/21network. Follow us on Twitter at 21network for the latest news and updates. The 21 Network, for the fan and all of us.